I am very, very pleased. I was pleased to have met this man last night. I met him along with some other great military heroes in our country. Purple Heart recipients. I met Marines. I met Naval Reservists. I met Navy personnel. And I met a World War II veteran who is 87 years young and who just had some incredible stories to tell. And after I read a little bit more about his experience in the war, thanks to his son who helped get him there yesterday to the Cavs game with me, I thought we've got to have him on tonight and to let him talk about his experiences in World War II and what it means to have played such an instrumental role in keeping our country safe and free. So I welcome to the show now 87-year-old World War II veteran, Staff Sergeant John Simanella. Hey, John, how are you, sir?
All right, Bob.
I am outstanding, and I said it earlier on. I know you were bowling earlier on, but I talked about meeting you yesterday, and it was an honor and a privilege to have met you last night, and it's an honor to talk to you again tonight.
Well, thank you. It was my honor to be talking to you.
Well, John, first of all, most importantly, how'd you roll them tonight?
Good. Under average the first game, but then over average the next two games.
Well, that's good. You get stronger as you go, right?
Yeah, right. Well, we won 5 out of 7 points. So that means that we did good.
That's excellent. I'm glad to hear that. I got to tell you, when I asked your son, John, whether or not you'd be able to join me to talk a little bit tonight, just as a treat for our listeners as we celebrate Veterans Day, I said, we're on late tonight because we had a couple of coaches shows on between 7 and 8 and 8 and 9. I said, maybe we could record something so he wouldn't have to stay up until after 9. And he said, are you kidding me? He's going to be bowling from 8 to 10. Can he come on live at 10:30? I got to ask you, where do you get the strength and the energy and the stamina? You're 87 years young, but my gosh, I'm just amazed.
Well, the good Lord has endowed me with good health, and I have a good, healthy attitude, and I'm altruistic in nature. I like to work with people, and anything I can do to help them, it makes me feel good.
Well, John, let's talk a little bit about your experiences. Obviously, we are also grateful for all of those who have worn the uniform, have done for us, especially when we think about World War II and the threat that the world faced. In June of 1942, you enlisted in the Army Air Force Aviation Cadet Program. You talked to us a little bit about that last night when I asked you if you were drafted or what, and you told me a little bit about your story, how you got in. Tell us that now.
Well, I graduated in January of '42, and I forged my mother's name on on the enlistment papers, and I enlisted for the aviation cadets.
Now, why did you have to forge your mom's name?
At the time, I was the last son there and at home, and I kind of got exempted if I wanted to, but I didn't want to do that. I felt patriotic. As a young guy, you do what you feel like. You do the right thing for your country.
What did Mom say when she found out that you had forged her name and you enlisted?
She never found out.
She never found out.
She thought I got drafted.
Oh. So you could have actually avoided duty because being the last son in the household, and you said, "The hell with that." You wanted to go and fight for your country.
That's right, like the rest of my buddies. Yeah, they all did the same thing.
Now, when you first enlisted, something happened. Your class was wiped out or something like that, right?
Well,
for what reason?
Well, I got up to advanced flying, and all of a sudden we had more pilots than we needed, and as a result, they wiped out my whole class, and some of the guys went to infantry duty, and I was fortunate enough to go to photography school and got hooked up with Harry Oker, who we called our plane Oker's Jokers.
Tell me more about Oker's Jokers.
Oker's Jokers. Well, he was from Harry Oker was from San Diego, and we were, myself and my co-pilot were from Springfield, Illinois. So on our way overseas, we deviated and we flew over Springfield, Illinois. And as I got over Concordia College, my house was a block away, I dropped a 50 caliber. I made a parachute and dropped a 50 caliber machine gun bullet with a note on it say I was going overseas, and they somehow or the other it found its way into the Springfield Journal, the newspaper, and I made the newspapers.
So you attached a note for your mom, saying, "I'm going overseas. I've been deployed. I'm going overseas to fight," and you dropped the bullet from the airplane so that she could get that note.
And I landed in the field, and they found it.
Unbelievable. Staff Sergeant John Simanella is my guest. He is a World War II veteran. Let's talk about some of your experiences in the war, and especially as we get to how you eventually became a member of the Lucky Bastard Club.
Okay.
But first of all, let's talk about some of the hazards, because specifically when you thought you were about to, you were headed for Holland, I believe, right? Which was...
Oh, yeah, it was the Battle of the Bulges.
During the Battle of the Bulge, which was your... How many missions had you flown then, John?
At that 32.
32nd mission was during the Battle of the Bulge, and your plane got hit, right?
Yeah, we were lead crew, and we were flying over the Ruhr Valley. And that mission, never forget that mission, because the ball bearing works, and everything goes on ball bearings. And the colonel said, I hope you guys went to your different church services, because 1 out of 5 will come back. Because they had 280 88-millimeter cannons surrounding that place.
So they were picking off planes left and right.
You heard the old expression, the flak was so thick you can get out and walk on it?
Yeah.
And that's about what is... Well, we were, in a way, we were a little fortunate, because the B-17s, they got up to 30,000 feet, and we couldn't get much more than 22,000 feet, because we had that Davis wing. It was like the bumblebees, you know what I mean? It was a miracle they could fly at all. And so the Germans, in their way of thinking, they concentrated the fire on the B-17s, figuring that they knock the B-17s out of there, they'll fall down on the B-24s below. So they took all the punishment. Boy, they really got hit bad. Matter of fact, one out of 20 ships, only one came back out of this one particular second unit of that flying out of that thing there. And but we got hit. Our number 1 and 2 engine got hit, and after we had dropped the bombs, and as we came back home, we knew we couldn't. We were getting ready to bail out because we were down in a spiral. And but about 10,000 feet, we finally got control of the plane. And after we leveled out, we knew we couldn't make it back to England, so we knew that the Holland was under the domination of the British. So we headed for Holland. Well, we crash landed in Holland, Tilburg, Holland. And as we got out of the plane, we blew up the bomb site because it was a secret weapon. And as we got out of the plane, we heard these guttural voices. And so, oh, hell. So we stuck up our hands in surrender. And it turned out to be liberated Dutch troops.
So you heard German accents, and you thought you're done now.
Yeah, we thought.
But they weren't Germans; they were Dutch.
They were Dutch, right? And I'll never forget. And they picked us in this British lorry to Tilburg, Holland. And as I was getting out, you get out backwards. A snowball hits me in the butt, and I turn around. There's those Dutch kids in wooden shoes. A target's a target. They blasted me. So we just laughed, picked up a snowball, threw it back at them. But from Tilburg, then we went, and I tell you what, so I learned one of the things about the war is as I got out of the chow line, and got to throw the garbage away, those kids grabbed the food, and they ate our garbage.
Wow.
And so from that point on, I was there maybe about 4 or 5 days before they moved us to Amsterdam. But I used to put a portion of my food aside that I wouldn't touch, so those kids could have it when I got out of there.
So you've seen all of the horrors of war. You've seen the fighting, obviously. You participated in it, and you've seen the kids, innocent bystanders. They don't have anything to do with this who suffer from it.
That's right. And that's how fortunate America was that at that time that we didn't get bombed. So we in a way our people were fortunate.
Absolutely.
So from Amsterdam, we went from Tilburg to Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, they shipped us to Belgium, Brussels, and And I had a little story I think I can tell you. Is we you couldn't carry anything but your dog tags. But when we got shot down, we took our parachutes and sold it on the black market, and that's how we got some money. And so my pilot and I, we went to look for souvenirs, and we was in this shop, and we didn't see anything. Well, we were getting ready to go. She says, I go get a piece. And the pilot said, what'd she say? I think I can say that. I can say urinating, right?
Yes, you can. I think that's okay.
You know what I mean, the piece part?
Yes, I do. I know what you mean.
I think she said she's going to go back and urinate. Well, it came back with this little statue, the famous statue of peace. And the story behind the statue was that this multimillionaire, his kid was lost, and he said any way they find his kid, that's the way he's going to make a statue in the center of town. And sure enough, in the center of town, there's a statue and a little boy urinating. And that's the way it was.
That's.
After we left there, then we went to Reims, France. From Reims, France, and went to Paris, and from Paris back to fight 3 more missions.
Wow. And I want to talk about that for a minute, what those 35 missions means. We'll get to that club in a second. We're talking with World War II veteran Staff Sergeant John Simanella, who was in the Army Air Force. And now you talked about the mission, especially in the Battle of the Bulge. You said one of every five might survive, might actually return. So,
yeah, we lost more. We had more casualties in the 8th Air Force than any other unit.
How many of your close friends who are in those planes along with you, how many of those close friends did you lose, and how did you handle that?
Well, we lived. The one that got hit in that mission was our Nick Camizzi from New York City, and he got hit in the back with a piece of shrapnel, and we left him in Tilburg. That was the last I ever saw of him, and but. Outside of that, we were kind of fortunate. We always came back with bullet holes in the fuselage and things like that. But it wasn't our turn to go. That's the way I looked at it. I kept my nose clean, stayed out of trouble, and instead of I go to London to dance. I love to dance. I go to Covent Gardens, but I work out with the weights and everything. And after I got through my 35th mission, I went back. I had a month's furlough, and then I went to Santa Ana for reclassification. And the guy says, "Well, it looks like you're going to be flying B-29s." And I thought, boy, that's the Pacific Ocean and the Japs. I said, man, they already had 35 cracks at me. I said, anything else? He said, you got a pretty good build. Do you ever play football? Well, at that time, I had a 50-inch chest and a 32-inch waist and 180 pounds soaking wet. And I said, yeah. I said, why? He said, they're looking for football players in Personnel Distribution Command. Man, I got up there, I threw that chest out. I says, Lieutenant, you found a star, and here I am.
God bless you. So tell us about that 35th mission. I keep referencing it like it means something, and it does. Tell us about the Lucky Bastard Club.
Well, after you flew your 35th mission, they give you a certificate, and it said Lucky Bastards Club. It says, you lucky bastard, you survived 35 missions delivering goodwill to Hitler, and you're still living. You now are a member of the Lucky Bastards Club, and it was signed by Elliot Roosevelt, who was a brigadier general, and was the son of Franklin Roosevelt, the president.
You received a Good Conduct Medal, six cluster air medal.
The air medal was six clusters. The presidential citation for knocking out a target because we were lead crew, and we got the unit citation, and a certificate, a frame certificate as a member of the Lucky Bastard Club. That's right.
35 missions and a
Good Conduct Medal.
and then you said, I'm going to play football. I'm not getting in a B-29.
That's right. I wasn't. I figured, hey, I pushed luck. I escaped death 3 times I know of.
Yeah, well, I believe he escaped it 35 times, John.
Well,
I mean, really, every time you went up there on one of those missions, you very easily could have found yourself on the way down.
That's right.
John, listen, I know you've probably heard this many times as the years have gone by, but I just want to say it again on Veterans Day 2010. We would not be here enjoying everything that having this conversation, having free radio, having the liberties that we do if it weren't for you and all of your comrades in arms, those who returned and those who did not return and gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. You have our utmost respect and our gratitude for everything you've done for the United States of America.
Well, Bob, always thank you, and I did no more than anybody else, and I appreciate what you're doing for the veterans, and I also appreciate for the nice gesture you made yesterday.
Well, I was happy to do it, and I was so glad that you were a part of it, and thank your son for entering you into that contest so that we could meet you up there. I really treasured the experience.
And I'm going to tell you something. You put me to sleep every night. I listen to you and I fall asleep listening to you.
Well, you know what? I can't tell you how much that means to me. Seriously, that you listen to me every night, and if mine's the last voice you hear before you fall asleep, right. I'm very proud to hear that.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Thank you, John.
God bless.
God bless you, sir. John Simanella. The man is 87 years old. You would not know it to listen to him. But I could listen to him tell stories about some of the things and cheating death and all the things that he has done for this country for hours. That is my gift to you, John Simanella, on Veterans Day 2010. More coming up on WTAM 1100.